All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this very chilly Monday afternoon. I'm glad you're all found ways to find yourself to warm up and make your way out here. My name is Anand Talker, and amongst all this marketing technology activity that I'm involved in, I also spearhead the mentor and advisor program here at the Village with a wonderful team at ATB. Our vision program has been in our third year, and we've been really getting some feedback about what are some of the challenges that most of the startups here at the Village have been going through? What are some of those obstacles? So we created this Go Big, Go Home series to really talk about how to break the ceiling on a number of those types of challenges. And we'll have a 3 or 4 part series throughout the rest of the year. And today we're going to talk about talent and development, which is one of the biggest challenges that are facing. So to help us explore a lot of that, we have a wonderful panel, and we have Victoria Thornton from Rubicon Global. She's at Rubicon, which is an emerging unicorn in Atlanta space, and I hope I'm not too crazy about saying that, but in the innovative waste management side of things, you can look it up. So I'm not going to be too big. But she was an agency recruiter turned corporate recruiter, and has been working with basically late stage entities and late. So, and next to her is Carrie Bongard. I got her name last time, so I'm glad to be able to do it. She's one of our best Village mentors, and she has the awesome opportunity, the amazing and awesome responsibility of leading talent development at Assurance. And while she's working at a very enterprise level, she helps a lot of our entrepreneurs at various stages, and she has a great perspective on what innovation and high growth looks like even within a mature capacity or mature late stage capacity. And then of course Karen Houghton, and she is in charge of this meta startup Village. If you don't know who she is, you've been looking for a while. She's been managing and trying to support 300 plus startups, and she has a great perspective on what are the needs of these startups that are starting so early on and trying to break through some of the incremental growth challenges that they have today. Of course, right next to me is Tiffany Cosgrove from Calendly, attorney turned customer success guru, and she has experience not only in Calendly but also previously at Salesforce. So great perspective on not only early to mid stage growth, but also how customers are reacting to the challenges of high growth talent development that are going on as well. So today we're going to actually have about 30 minutes of questions and answers. Questions I'm going to be talking to the panel. We'll have some time to have the panelists speak to each other a little bit, or ask themselves some questions. I'm sure they're way smarter than I am, so I'm sure they have some more valuable questions than I can even come up with. And then we'll open it up for a Q&A for the rest, obviously, to our audience as well. Before we begin, I want to get a sense of our wonderful audience here. How many of you are founders or entrepreneurs? Just raise your hand. All right. How many of you are corporate recruiters or recruiting or managing talent at a startup or a company? Okay. And then, of course, how many of you are agency recruiters? Anybody here? All right, fantastic. You can raise your hand a little higher. It's okay. Be proud. Be proud. So I thought I'd start off with one of the biggest challenges I know I personally faced when I was doing a lot of interviewing and whatnot. Tell us about the balance of getting recruiting within the company, and then how they can make progress. So balancing schedules for your stakeholders, hiring managers, executives. And I'm sure they're very busy. How do you help them manage that, or what are some best practices in that? Let's start with you, Gary.
Let's see. I think about I could start about 18 places. I guess one of the things that we do is that it's not the recruiter's job, it's the hiring manager's job to hire the talent. And so we try to enable that and make it easy, but we also see it as their responsibility. So we actually won't start a recruiting engagement until the hiring manager says, I'm in this with you, I'll make my calendar available, here's what I'm committing to, et cetera. And so it really is a partnership between the recruiter. Most cases will have an HR business partner who's also working with them, as well as the hiring manager. And it really is working together to bring the best talent into the organization.
What's your thoughts, Victoria? I know you've been on a crazy
So
trend?
in hyper growth, you don't unfortunately always have a hiring manager's commitment because they see growing the company and their commitment to the product or to sales is just as, if not more important as hiring. So what I've tried to work with them to do is say, well, give me certain days on your calendar where you know I can absolutely be committed, even if it's from 8 to 10 o'clock in the morning or from 4 to 6 o'clock at night. Because I know, like, if they've committed to that, then those are the hours that I'll try to work around to get their interview scheduled.
And I know you're at, Tiffany, you're at an early mid-stage, no talent really is bursting out now. So how are you finding that challenge? How are you trying to overcome that challenge?
Well, we have an HR/talent person that we work with as hiring managers, but we also have the advantage of being able to use our own product to make the scheduling easier. So I have different Calendly links for the different stages of the interview process, where I basically say, for phone screens, I'm available at all these times. You can send through a candidate link, and they can just take time. We have joint events for if we are doing like a multi-person interview for a later stage, where I can check everybody's calendar. So once we set that availability in our app, the actual engaging with the candidates becomes fairly
Awesome. Well, Karen, I got a different question for you. I know. Answer your question. Okay, I'll let you answer it. Go for it.
It's digressing a little bit, but I think one of the things that I see for smaller companies a lot is that one of the biggest problems is defining what you actually want that position to look like. So once you're bigger and you're like, great, I know I need client services, I know I need a BDR. For smaller startups who are just starting to grow, it's like, no, they need to do this and this and this, and then maybe the founder has one idea, and then your office manager has another idea, or whoever kind of your role is, and getting everybody on the same page, because I see a lot of folks will start down that process, and then it changes and it changes and it changes, and you've wasted all this time trying to kind of interview and follow up with different folks. And you're like, I found this great candidate, and then somebody else comes along and says, oh, I actually wanted them to also do X, Y, and Z. And you kind of have to go back to the beginning. So I think the biggest mistake I see that kind of wastes time that you can streamline is making sure that all of your key players are on the same page and you know exactly what it is you're hiring for.
Well, I know you have to be more specific about how you hire, because the folks that are part of your team have a lot of responsibility with a number of people and divergent needs. How are you identifying some of the high potential, or what's called high potential employees or potential employees that are, that may be younger and then, they can mature very quickly or are adaptable as they grow in their role that you're looking to hire?
You mean, how are we sifting through all of our options? The Village team is smaller, and obviously we see a lot of different folks, 300 plus companies, so it all looks a little bit different. But I would say for us, the Village has a job board, and it gets a whole lot of traction. And so we're hiring an events coordinator, and we put it up for, I think, not quite 7 days. I think I had 65 resumes, which can be super overwhelming, especially when we're like drinking from a fire hose on a regular basis anyway, with everything we have going on. So for me personally, what I did for this specific example is I go through and I just automatically start cutting people. If the resume is more than like 1 or 2 pages, I cut. If it's all stuff that you guys probably need to, but if the intro email doesn't say my name or doesn't personalize it to our company in some way, I don't look at it. So I have these different kind of metrics to where, if you can't think, oh, Karen at AtlantaTechVillage.com, like I should say Karen, or it's, I want to be a part of your business. They don't say Atlanta Tech Village. So I'm looking for anything that they can personalize. And if you're got 3 years of experience and you're sending me a 4-page resume, I'm not interested. So we have a lot of different variations there, which automatically cut it down to like 25 or 30. And then the next thing that we do is we have them take a DISC assessment. So I don't know if you're familiar with that. You know, the Tony Robbins website, and it's free, and it just gives us an idea of kind of their behavioral, kind of outward behavioral patterns, whether they're introvert, extrovert, things like that. And then we also ask for a blog post. So at this point, they're having to do a lot of things to even show that they're interested. So you're also automatically weeding a bunch of people out from there. And we do phone interviews, and then we bring them in person, and then we take our final 2 to 3 candidates, which is the process that we're in right now. We've gotten through this part, and then we start doing culture checks. So they're meeting with 2 or 3 other team members just to get buy-in that they'd be a good fit for the team.
Does anybody else have any other? I mean, there's a lot of common and best practices there that Karen spoke about. Is there any additional things that you're doing to find those high potential prospects, prospective talent?
I agree with everything that Karen said, and I think it is that how we're looking for people who stand out. So we look at what people have accomplished and done and the impact that they've had. We also look at how they do that. So typically we're going to ask a lot of questions that get at some of the experiences that they've had and get really specific about what they accomplished, what specifically they did, etc., to see how they can describe that. And typically we'll also do something that maybe we'll put a current problem or challenge in another person, because I also want to understand about how they think about it. This is somebody that I'm going to be working with, or the hiring manager is going to be working with to solve a problem. So I want to understand how a person thinks. So typically we try to put a problem in front of them too. And just in the moment, what are some of the things that stand out for them? So I think it's the what and the how, both past experience as well as some insight into how they will think about things going.
Anybody else have any other tips or thoughts about it?
So we're really hyper-growth company. A lot of people are really attracted to Rubicon, our mission. So we'll get a lot of resumes of people who are interested in who we are as a business. But they'll say, you know, I looked at your job board. There's not really a job there based on what I want to do, but I really want to come and work for you. If their education and their experience stands out as someone that I think could add value, I'll still do a phone screen, and then I can identify what is this person interested in. And I'm always really active with our executives and our hiring managers, so I kind of know what our headcount for the next quarter or for the rest of the year is going to look like, and I'll say, hey, I talked to this really interesting candidate. I think that he's worth having a conversation. He or she is worth having a conversation with. Sometimes we've been able to actually create roles based on, as a startup, you know that you have a lot of problems that you'll have to solve down the road. So to have the foresight to understand what are we going to be solving in the next 6, 8, 12 months. And if you can hire that person and keep them busy, help them, they can help you to solve some immediate problems, but they're also going to be the individual that will be able to contribute to some of your additional growth down the road.
And real quick, like just down the entire panel here, how many resumes are you sifting through just to get a feel for what kind of scope you all are dealing with?
So last year we went from 150 to 300 employees, and I sifted through over 5,000 resumes.
At any point in time, we have between 600 and 700 open positions. So I couldn't even tell you at this moment how many resumes it is, but thousands and thousands of them. We do have an applicant tracking system that helps us kind of doing some of that initial screening and have to hit the key criteria that we're looking for jobs. But yeah, about 600 to 700 open positions.
We have a village job board, and generally there's 50 to 60 job postings at any given time on that, and they stay up for 45 days. And I have heard generally it's about 50 applications per week, depending on the company that you are.
For my department, for our customer happiness, in each round we get a little over 300 applicants for our ground level customer support. But I would say that the way we manage that is kind of like a hybrid of what all you guys were saying, where we're looking for clean applications. We want people who take the time to write thoughtful answers to the optional questions that are on the application, and clean resumes in either direct or translatable skills before we even get on the phone with them. And if the phone call is decent and their personality shines through and they really sell themselves well with the value they can bring, then we give them a more of a written assessment that I review, where I look for certain things in each question, whether it's did you take the time to check our knowledge base for this, or how did you communicate this, or what was your outlook on this challenging situation, things like that can help us get it to know if that person is going to be the right fit, not just on the technical side and the skills, but also on the other side, and then we bring them in. My favorite one is, what's your favorite fact and why? Because it gives you kind of an insight into who they might be as a person, but then also, how they approach the day-to-day that they could do on their phone.
So,
If it's optional.
so Karen was just asking, like, what is the optional question when to help vet through, obviously.
If it's optional, what percentage of people actually answer the question when they apply?
For that particular question, I would say probably 80% student answer and probably 60% of the answers are decent.
So you mentioned, Carrie, you use an applicant tracking system to help you, obviously Calendly to help you scheduling. What are some of the other technologies that you use or solutions that you use to help you recruit and manage and develop the talent within your organization? Any others that come to mind?
Well, we use Recruiter Box, which has its advantages and disadvantages. It can get a little messy, I think, as far as staying organized, especially if someone applies for multiple roles, the way it merges them. But I think we're maybe to beta test. I think Google's coming out with sort of hiring platform, so that'd be interesting.
So there are some newer ATS like Greenhouse and Lever that I've used both of them, and they're much more affordable than some of the larger systems. And they do more or less everything that you want for them to do. And we also actually use Calendly internally to schedule a lot of our initial screens. I mean, that's really all you need. I mean, it doesn't have to be super sophisticated.
Right. I was wondering, like, as you are obviously working with team members and the hiring managers, like, what are some best tips about how you collaborate with them on trying to find the right candidate? Sometimes I know that can evolve, sometimes that can change, but how are you managing that in a very dynamic hybrid situation? So how about, let's Carrie.
I think what Karen mentioned before about being clear about what it is that you're looking for. And I think sometimes what happens is people tend to look a little bit short term, and we really encourage them to think of it longer term about it as well. You had asked earlier too about the high potential employee question, whether they are candidates coming into the organization or employees about their next role in the organization. We're also trying to think through, so what might a next step look like for them? So when we say someone's high potential, we want to be thinking about the kind of what's next for them. But I think just creating kind of that partnership, if you will, between those involved in the recruiting and hiring process. And certainly there are some things that might change along the way. And I think also in the moment when we recognize that change needs to happen, we want to make sure we have that conversation right away to waste as little time for us as possible, but also not to waste candidates' time in the process as well. So I think it is that that open communication. Typically we're talking to the three people typically involved in it are talking at least once per week, if not more frequently, about where we are, say, in the initial screening process, what we're looking at moving forward, developing questions, who's going to be asking which questions and how you evaluate that. So there's a lot of communication happening between those involved.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Well, like you said, it's something that it has evolved as the company's gotten bigger. So when I first came on, there were only two other people in the department. So I wanted to make sure that we were hyper protective of the culture and that everybody felt included. So anytime there was a candidate that I felt like had potential that could come in, I make sure that I sent them the materials ahead of time. I'm like, hey, I want to bring Kristen, what do you think? And we talked about, the people that we felt were strong and not, and kind of made more of a group decision based on the initial, conversations with the candidate that I had. And then the previous stage, the one we're in right now, we had a bigger team, so I didn't feel like it was as efficient to have everybody be as hands-on with the hiring, but I would still send them the information on who we wanted to bring in, just so they could still be in the loop. And now we are definitely battling higher volume where it makes more sense for the team to stay focused on the day-to-day. So I try to update them in our daily stand-ups, like where we are in the process. But then really I'm just, when we do have an offer accepted, kind of saying, here's who's going to be coming on board, here's why they're awesome. But if somebody does join me for one of the on-site interviews, I make sure they still get that information.
Awesome. I'll change a little bit. I wanted to, Karen, you have this immense community, obviously, of a number of startups that are here. How is the referral capacity, supporting you? I'm not going to touch on this with you, but how's the referral network worked in terms of how big startups are growing in terms of their talent acquisition?
I have a cough drop in my mouth too, so I apologize. But no one wanted to hear me cough.
I can smell it.
It's actually in the form of Jolly Rancher, so sorry if that's what Kelly meant. We actually really strongly use our referral network. I would say 95% of village hires have been through knowing somebody who is referring somebody in. And at Atlanta Ventures, which is all of David Cummings, our founder, they work really highly off referrals too. So, I mean, he'll pay upwards of $10,000 for a referral for a good engineer. And even on a smaller level, like I know right now we had 2 co-founders who were really looking for a CTO. And they were going to meetups and they were asking other people and really struggling to find a CTO for a few months. And they ended up getting one of the best ones, I think, in Atlanta. And they did that through 2 or 3 different relationships that they had built as they were growing their company. And he came to join them simply because of recommendations for these, kind of that relational equity that he had already built up. So Atlanta is really small in a lot of ways. And it's, even when you look at like the village community, our mentors or advisors, like whoever your relational equity is, you can go to them and say, hey, do you know somebody who could do this? And I'm referring people all day long, like, hey, I know whether it's my personal life or professional life, if you've been pressed, whoever you're in front of at some point, they're going to say something good for you. And it's, so I would say a huge percentage are through referrals through your network.
One of our best sources of new employees is employee referrals. And one of the questions I typically ask leaders as we're looking at candidates for leadership roles, I'll ask them to give me an example of the best person or the most valuable person in their network and why. Because I want to get a sense of how externally focused are they? Who are some, because if we continue with this, that employee referrals are one of our best source of employees, I also want to know who's in their network that also might be people they could potentially bring into the organization.
There are actually a couple of tools to help you improve that as well. I know one is simpler. They help connect your employees when jobs come open. They can refer people in their network. Like, it'll set up an algorithm to match their network's profiles to the job description that you have, so you can actually get more referrals that way. I have in the past like literally sat down with members of either the hiring manager themselves or members on their team and let's go through your LinkedIn profile, let's go through Facebook, GitHub, whatever it may be. Because they know people like themselves, but they don't always think like, oh yeah, I have a referral for that. And especially for really hard to fill roles, it can greatly increase or decrease the amount of time that you're able to fill it if you just go that extra step to really just ask for referrals as opposed to expecting them.
That's wonderful. I know one of the challenges that comes up with referrals is there's that gold stamp, type of thing, and you continue to rely on that gold stamp if someone brings in a great employee, or you try to break the mold a little bit and say, all right, let's try to increase the diversity of mindset and people and whatnot. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
I think it's just more like keeping an awareness of the mix and making sure that you are still bringing in a good percentage of external candidates. I'm definitely one of the people who, when someone makes a referral, because we do have like a Google form where we're really basic about that, that this is somebody that you'd be willing to essentially bet your job on. And I know that sounds cliche, but I would never make a referral personally to someone that I didn't believe in. So I would hope that someone else would, feel the same way. And then again, it is just a strong personal thing. And I also find myself biased towards thinking about everyone I know when we have open roles and think, oh, this person would be such a good fit, and then I can have all my friends work.
Anybody else?
That's definitely the downfall, is that you get homogenous group of people. So, if we're only looking at the people in our networks and generally we hang out with people who are like us, there's definitely that con that it's kind of like we potentially also this time we're like, hey, nobody's connected any of these people, but we need to bring them in. Just keep that good balance.
I was going to say, it can actually work against you if you hire too many people from the same place. At a past employer, we hired probably, 5 or 6 engineers that had all previously come from the same company. And someone had referred another one from that company as well. And he literally said, actually don't want to come and work with the same people. Not that I didn't enjoy working with them, but you do create, you have all the same like-minded people. So it's like, well, how much different is this opportunity going to be for me? So.
Well, back to you, Victoria. I mean, you've worked with a lot of companies before you were at Rubicon. Where do you see most companies get stuck, especially when they're in a high growth capacity? Where do you see most of them get stuck in terms of getting that momentum to hire more talent?
Well, not listening to their talent acquisition team. Because if you have a good recruiter working with you, literally, I mean, our job is to know our market and what the market pays or what the market can offer. And you'll have hiring managers, especially really early on, want to hire only purple squirrels, which are people that can do, 15 different jobs. And our job is to help them to understand it's really difficult to find someone who's going to be able to do all of those things. As a consultant, as a, an HR and a talent, ally for you to help you figure out what we can actually find in this market. Maybe we hire 2 people, maybe we hire a more senior level person and a more junior level person. And I have personally seen my own company and past companies, and no one actually knows because we were networking to fill another role. So, I mean, it can take a lot if you're just dead set as a hiring manager on finding one person who is only an expert in 10 different things when that expert doesn't exist. It definitely will cause, a huge hurdle in the hiring process.
Did you say purple squirrel?
Purple squirrel.
How many of you have heard that term before?
All of the recruiters in the
I'd say we see issues maybe on both ends of the spectrum. One is the looking for the perfect person, right? And so then sometimes it can be, oh my gosh, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, or even longer to find that perfect person. And what we've tried to do is really to isolate what really is required and what would be preferred. And is there a way through onboarding and development to fill any gap there might be, or to be thinking more broadly about the team and how can somebody else in the team sort of complement that person. That's one part of it. On the other end of the spectrum, we have a process that we go through before a hiring manager can open up a position, right? And so sometimes by the time they actually open the position and begin recruiting, they're already feeling really desperate. So then they might be too quick to rush to hire somebody. I think we have enough examples where there were some pretty serious mistakes made when you rush and you don't have the right person on your team or the right leader in your organization. So I think we're getting a little bit better at that, but sometimes so I'd say we have the rush to hire and then looking for the perfect candidate. And I think those 2 areas can be problems.
Be slow to hire and quick to fire.
Yeah. Where are you seeing, Karen? I mean, obviously we're watching a lot of companies. Where are you seeing them be stuck at it? Are they trying to do it themselves? Is it just they're early and it's just a matter of growing pains they have to go through? What are you seeing?
I would say people are not creating enough space to make the hires. They're not defining what that hire actually is, so they're trying to be really quick to fill it, and then they're realizing that person can't actually do what they wanted them to do. And they're probably not networking their relationships to find some of the best talent either. We have people who are actually in here who are like, I can't find anyone. I'm like, great, did you put on the job board? No. Okay. Elliott recruits, like we actually have somebody on the village team who goes to all the top universities in the Southeast, to Emory, Georgia Tech, and she has tons of resumes where we actually kind of do through that first filter for our startups. I'm like, great, have you reached out to Kellyanne? They're like, no, but I have to have this person like yesterday. I'm like, great, what are you doing? So it's creating space to actually use the resources that you have at your fingertips, be able to define who it is, and really kind of go through that process.
For startups that are in a high growth capacity, they are, especially if they're approaching another round of funding, they haven't gotten it yet. Hiring or talent acquisition becomes a little tight in terms of you need to pick until that round is complete. What do you do with the folks that, because obviously all of you are always recruiting anyway. What do you do with those folks and balance of, oh my gosh, I really want you, but I gotta wait 6 more months before this round closes? Anybody have any thoughts? A couple of people have any thoughts on that?
I have 2 of those right now. Just like, I really want the best for you. I can't take you right now. I hope that you're okay at your job until I'm ready again. But like, I really don't ever say that to them, of course. It kind of hurts me to have to tell them like, I'm sorry, but no, not this time. Please check back. So I really, really, really want them to, because I know the next round our criteria will shift and they could very well be the cream of the crop for what we're looking for next. So it's kind of like little personal conflicts. I'm like, I really want them to be successful because they were awesome, but at the same time, like, if they could just hang on where they are for a few more months, it'd be great.
Yeah, so we always go with, transparency is the best policy with a candidate. If we've certainly hit those hiccups where we've had to postpone hiring someone until Q1 or whatever it may be, and we'll tell candidates, you've done really well in the interview process. We'd really like to move forward to the funds, offer step or reference, whatever the next step is. But our timeline has changed just a little bit, and we just continue to stay in touch. So we'll follow up, in 2 to 4 weeks, and hey, has anything changed? And it works in your favor, especially for candidates that already are actively employed. Unfortunately, if they're actively in the job market, you may lose them. But I've definitely found staying in touch and just being transparent about, the positions on hold. We fully anticipate that it may open back up in 2 to 3 weeks, or if that's 2 to 3 months, and letting those candidates know how that timeline looks and how it's going to change. We've been able to hang on to some candidates for quite some time until we can actually move forward.
I think I'm just kind of following up there that staying transparent has its benefits as well. And we actually just saw one of those benefits this weekend. We got our first Glassdoor review from a candidate we didn't hire, and it was good. It's because we made the process so open for them and kept them in the loop. And they made a joke about, I had this interview and all I got was a Calendly t-shirt. And then they were like, just kidding, it was awesome. And I hope that they consider me next time. So that made us feel really good about the way that we were running the process. We're just figuring it out for a long time.
Treat your talent prospects like your customer prospects, right? So Victoria and Carrie both working at very large firms. When is it that you really need to start, like an organization needs to start placing infrastructure, like utilizing infrastructure in place? Any thoughts on when that needs to happen, or what's the feeling like that? What's the feeling to get to that point? Or when that happens?
Well, interestingly enough, we're actually having a session here, I think on April 11th, where we've got an employment law attorney coming in to talk with people about that very question. I think part of it is, what can you afford? There's that side of the equation, and I think it also is, does the volume of work in a particular area appear to be like scalable, sustainable and scalable? And I think that making the decision about doing that. I think one of the other things that we'll talk about on April 11th also is, depending upon the size of the organization, what risks might there be if you're not doing things well in terms of documentation and process and those kinds of things. So I guess I think about cost, I think about scalability, size, and sustainability of that, as well as, again, as you grow, the risks of maybe not doing some of this in a way that if you were audited, do you feel like you'll be in a good place?
So do you think it's founder or entrepreneur gets to a certain size and they start to sleep over it? Maybe that's time to, or is it an incident that occurs? And
It could be all those things that prompt it. I mean, ideally, you make that decision before there's a big problem, but my guess is that probably has prompted a lot of people, to get a little bit more kind of formal about some of those processes. And I think part of it too is how do you have a level of formality and sort of process, but not over engineering it, particularly in startup environments. So I think finding the right place, and again, one of the things we'll talk about at that session is, what are some of the landmines for startup businesses as you get, say, 15 employees and 50 employees, like things you really want to pay attention to, because you likely are not going to be able to have everything in process or need everything that a larger organization might need.
I'd say as far as startups go, generally what I see in the village is that you're getting an internal recruiter around the 30-person mark in your scale. Right? Are you guys hiring a recruiter?
Yeah, we're just at about 30 and we're getting a recruiter.
Yeah. And then Catherine Rigger, you're kind of there.
So we actually asked Carrie last week, what do you hire first, a recruiter or a HR generalist? We had a conversation about that.
What was your answer, Carrie? I'm kind of digressing.
No, this is perfect.
Well, I think it depends what you need a little bit of, but I think it depends upon the other skills that you might have in members of your team. I think if what you need, let's say if you are regularly having a high volume of open positions and recruiting is what you need, and it's such a specialty, I think that's great. If you don't have as much hiring volume, but you have broader needs, whether it's on performance management, compensation management, et cetera, or some of the more strategic elements of HR around maybe engagement, strategic planning, I guess I really go back to what is it that you need before deciding that's the role that you need.
Do you have anything else to add? this.
No, I
Calls
mean-
you out there.
Yeah, no, sure. I would say you have to hire exactly what Kira was saying. You have to hire what you need at that time and then also what you can afford. I think, again, with technology these days and startups have been such a booming need for technology, there are a lot of, especially from an HR standpoint, some of those companies, there's some products out there to kind of help you as a really young company. Do you have all the paperwork that you would need to hire someone? You certainly have to know your rights to terminate employees and things like that. So opportunities to understand it, and I'm sure that'll be a great talk for as you start up. What are you bound about legally to provide your employees? My experience in the startup world was that they always needed talent acquisition prior to needing HR, just because we were scaling so quickly. And it was a kind of a side, we'll hire a more junior level HR person just to keep, to make sure we have the right documentation and offer letters, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really being honest with yourself as someone who's running a business, like what are our 6 month, where are we going to be a year from now, and really determining, maybe can I hire someone who can do talent acquisition and a little bit of HR, things like that.
And if you're hiring into a negative culture, I would say fix the culture first. Because I've
Don't
seen that.
hire anyone until you fix your culture.
Right.
Yes.
Because I've seen that too, where they're hiring and then they're just spinning through people and they're like, no, I'm not finding the right talent. And I'm like, is that what that is? So I think depending on the HR, just thinking about that, like if you don't have a good culture, you need to set that first.
Actually, that's a good transition. I wanted to see, just kind of rapid fire, like, what is the best retention practice that you found to be very helpful for you and your organization? How does it influence you start?
Definitely culture. I think
Sorry,
too.
culture. I have to
The
get out the
easy-
easy one, right?
On my team in particular, we have a mission that we hold at the center of everything we do, and that's to make sure that our customers are successful and understand the product. So many words. And if we are holding that at everything that we do, then the culture kind of fixes itself. If there's ever issues, part of that is being open and transparent. So we talk about it and come to resolutions. So if we fail fast, and we learn, and we try to do better the next time. And I think that in and of itself creates this environment where when you do have the right hires come in, because it's intrinsic, they have a passion for the product and helping other customers. And I think the retention kind of takes care of itself at that point, but of course checking in, making sure that everyone's doing good.
I would say knowing and defining your values. If you, as a founder, can't define what you value, whether it's, the village has ones like be nice, dream big, work hard, play hard. The village team actually met together all about the democracy, and we came up with them together, and it's treating each other like family, assuming the best, and a willingness to sweep the floors. And we did that together, and then we let some time pass, and we're like, hey, what are they? And so people were already forgetting. So it's defining those values, also saying them until you're so sick of saying them. That's the only way you can actually guarantee that your team knows and understands them.
We've used the word transparency a couple of times, and one of the things that I think is really important around retention is when we're bringing somebody into the organization, that what we tell them, promises, if you will, that we make in those conversations is what their experience is. So, for example, if we're bringing them into a situation, we're going to be asking them to drive change. What support are we providing around that person? Or just how consistent that is. I think probably one of the disappointments to me is when someone says already 90 days into it, it's like, this is not what I was told this job would be, the culture would be, or the opportunity would be for me. So I think making sure that we are real with people about both the opportunities as well as the challenges that they're coming into. Otherwise, I think we really messed it up.
And I was actually going to say just that. I'm from our talent acquisition team. The most important thing for us to understand from a hiring manager, other than why the job is open, is what is this person going to be doing? What are they going to be working on? Who are they going to be working with? Do they know why this role is open? What are those challenges going to be? So that we are accurately painting that same picture for the candidate through the interview process. They're hearing working in a startup is not easy at all whatsoever. And everybody wants to work for a startup because they want to make millions of dollars because they have equity, blah, blah, blah. But they don't understand that it's a lot of hard work. It's traditionally a lot of long hours. you're working on 3, 4, 5, 10 different projects at the same time. You start a project in the morning, you scrap it because you have to start a new one in the afternoon. So we are very transparent about what it takes to be successful in our environment, because I don't want somebody to come and work for me who had all of the right skill set, had the right personality, but then they weren't prepared for the actual environment of the company, and then therefore, you know, they wind up just failing. And between transparency and everything else that the rest of the panel said, I mean, I think that you'll have more successful hires if you're just, again, honest with yourself, transparent about the role and the expectations.
So working backwards, so Victoria started, what is the resource you can share with the audience about that's been helpful for you in terms of talent and development? Book, person.
Work Rules by Laszlo Bell, best book ever from a talent acquisition standpoint. That's what it's all about. And it's really understanding, and I think from a hiring manager perspective too, reading it so that you understand the types of interview questions to ask, how to prepare, candidates, or how to prepare yourself for the interview process, because we certainly understand that hiring managers aren't always experts on the interview process either. But I think that's by far my go-to recommendation.
Okay, I'm thinking of some internal things, which aren't helpful to you, so I'm trying to think of something, some things that we built internally, drawing on external things. Come back to me. You're up, ma'am.
Yeah, I don't actually know that I have something specific other than if you don't have a mentor or an advisor that you can go to ask those questions, you need to find one. Whether you're a hiring manager or a founder or whoever, I think everybody needs somebody who will come alongside them and help them bounce ideas off and give them some direction. So that's super important, which is why Carrie is like one of our mentors here. She provides great value with Anand. And then as far as authors, like obviously I'm a little bit different in just my role here for talent acquisition, but Peter Lencioni, if you've not read any of his kind of management and team dynamic books, and they're really great on Audible because he kind of tells it like a story, so they're not super boring. Peter Lencioni, anything he's written, I said Patrick Lencioni, thank you. Patrick Lencioni is a really great author.
Knowing that, I actually don't have a book to recommend. I knew the right name. Right, no, I've read it. Just from a recruiting perspective, I would say that the most valuable resource is your own team. I've found that, when you're providing the right environment and when you're laying out the challenges on the table for the recruits during the interview process, and you're not just saying like, here's all the things you can expect. When you get to those harder parts, you talk about what you're doing to address them and what your goals are overall, like as a team in the day-to-day, even as a company. I think that goes a long way, and if you are sharing the interview process with anyone else on your team and they share the same passion talking about it, that goes a long way, and your team then becomes your most valuable resource. And it's not even just the person that's in that room with you, it's the team that everybody's with every day in the grind. It all kind of circles back together.
It's very, it starts you on. Do you have a question for the rest of the panel? Anybody have a question for the panel?
Is it time for our audience?
Yeah, why don't we hop over? Why not? Let's do it. All right, so let's just open it up for everybody. Go ahead. Anybody have any questions? Feel free to raise your hand. Go for it. But you have to stand up because you're so enthusiastic.
Yeah, I'll stand up. I'll talk really loud.
So if you have a team of young, talented folks who are recently promoted to people managers, how do you recommend getting them trained and onboarded in that new role? And then especially if there might not be a lot of people managers already at your company. Yes, I know, and we've talked about this, right? I think we have a session scheduled in May. Yes.
We got you covered.
It's one of the most important things, I think, the fundamentals to new people managers, because there's so many opportunities to get it wrong. And there are some really fundamental and foundational things to help people get it right. From bringing talent into the organization, to setting goals, to giving feedback on how people are doing and growing. recognizing that and helping people be successful. And so yes, we've got a session, I think it's gonna be a 2-day session is what we landed on, that will be available to villagers on kind of a first come, first serve once we post it, because I do think that's super, super important.
So having someone come in, like, is that your recommendation?
Well, it's a resource that's going to be made available to you. So I think, heck, if you can take advantage of it, I think that would be great. I mean, there's lots of, I think there are a lot of good sort of fundamental people management programs out there that aren't incredibly expensive. But I think doing something, whether it's taking advantage of something like this workshop we'll be able to do here, having people go to something to get some fundamental training, and I think going back to your point around a mentor, because the more you do it, the better you get at it. And boy, if you can learn some mistakes that you don't have to repeat from other people, I think that also is just smart.
I think the biggest mistake that I've watched people make is that they let them go. And they're like, great, congratulations, like you're scrappy, you went up, like go manage these people, like you're great with people, you got this. And then they bomb hard. And so it's so time consuming, but I think spending time and walking alongside, so I don't know how like you're only one person, but you know, like I think sometimes like even like the village team, we have a lot of younger folks too, and if I just like let them go and they're amazingly competent, but then all of a sudden I haven't met with them regularly, and then it's been a month, and then I'm like, oh, I should have told you that, or I thought you knew, and I just assumed. So I would say like weekly meetings, so managing the managers and then setting like either weekly or daily or regular rhythms to where you're touching base, and everything that I think you probably think is in your head and is super obvious, just saying it anyway and saying it over and over again, because we forget that it's something that we learned and then it's hard to pass on. And we read books together too. I'm a big book nerd, but like we have a book club. So like, you know, every quarter we read a book together as a team, and picking something that like, whether it's about leadership or management, and actually reading it together and talking about it, puts it in their bucket to like learn, but then you're bringing it all back together and they're all reading it together. I found that to be really helpful too.
Yeah, I would say the same. I know internally at Rubicon, we've looked into programs to implement leadership trainings and bringing someone in from the outside. But even when you have fewer resources, I do think there's some great, very short books on how to become good managers. And I've not done it recently, but in the past, peer reviews of your managers. I mean, you can take 30, 60, 90 days into that new job and just ask the people that are reporting to them, how are they doing? You know, 5 simple questions. It at least gives you a starting point to understand where they're failing and where they're being successful, so that you can say, you know, hey, your delivery is terrible when you're trying to correct someone. And it'll kind of help you guide them without, I think, having to micromanage someone who's been recently promoted to a leadership role.
I was going to say with what Karen said, but then back it up even further. So at the time that you notice that they might have the traits that you would want in a manager, keep your eyes on them. Active feedback is super important. And then if it's not someone you originally envisioned and they bring it up to you, then keep your eyes on them even closer. I have someone on my team who really, really wants the career growth. And so if there's a time where I feel like there's been a missed opportunity to say something in a more leader-y kind of way, if that's a word, I'm just like, hey, leader filter, thing aside, like here's how you could have done that, approach that a little bit differently, and kind of take it upon yourself to be accountable for their growth at that point, like if you're their manager.
Building on that, but I'd say some of the people that I've mentored here are people who might have been in individual contributor roles, and then either as the company grows or maybe they make a shift, they ideally want to be leading people. And so we'll start to do some brainstorming while they're still in that individual contributor role about giving them some experience. Maybe it's leading a project team and sort of practicing some of the things that they will need to do when they actually become a people manager. And that actually is really helpful. And then during that time, being really clear about, here's what you did really well. Did you notice what the impact of XYZ behavior was? And also here are a couple of things you might have done a little bit differently. I guess the other thing I'd say is one of the reasons we as a company are investing in those people leadership skills training is that you've done all this work to bring people into the organization. You've all seen the research about people tend to leave companies because of their manager. And so what a mistake if we're investing in bringing talent into the organization, but we're not also investing in helping managers be the best people leaders they can be. We probably don't have a complete formula.
I mean, even just getting it, I don't know if you've done this, but getting everybody into a room and just saying, what are the best characteristics of like managers you've liked in the past and what are the worst ones? And just creating these lists and then getting them to all talk about it and then be like, what do you think you're good at and what do you think your biggest weakness is? Because that's how we learn what we like and we don't like is what we've experienced so often. And then kind of like what you said, every week on our like quarterly reviews, one of the biggest questions that I have is how can I be a better manager for you? And I get real feedback. It always hurts a little, so I know it's true. You know, you're like, oh, all right, I can work on that. But that allows me to learn and also gives them. So like if you're managing them, having them make sure to ask their team that, sitting down and saying, all right, what is all this information? And then how can we put that into a plan for you?
We covered a lot of ground with that question, so thank you very much. Does anyone else have any question or want to share something that they're challenged with? Go ahead.
Atlanta's a kind of unique culture. It's got a lot of great companies, a lot of they're all doing great things. Everybody's talking about culture and promoting it and some of the benefits and pay. How do you differentiate yourself when you're certain benefits?
I think Atlanta's great too.
I mean, but I think it comes down to is the culture and having things that are distinct about your culture that are valuable to people you want to have in the organization. You know, when people retire from our company and people will ask them, you know, what kept you here for 20 years or 25 years or whatever, and they always say it's the people that I get to work with. And so what is it that you are doing to build that sense of community, having each other's backs and doing those kinds of things? One thing that people will say about our organization is that it's different than others, and they'll actually articulate that. Even some people who've only been with our company for 90 days or 6 months, they'll say, here's my experience, it's really different from other organizations. Like, this is really valuable, protected. So I'd say a lot of it is about the culture, the opportunity.
And it should be easily identifiable. It should be easily identifiable. Like if you're hiring and you don't know why your company is different, like, and it's hard, like you can figure it out and you have to define it and make it really obvious, but the more effort, the better.
And just, I mean, an open door to your leadership. I think as Rubicons continue to grow, having all of our executives, all of our senior managers, VPs, et cetera, they all sit out on the same floor with the rest of our employees. So while there is hierarchy, it's not bougie, you know, it's like if you have a question, you can literally go up to anyone in our company. I think that is something that's unique. I've worked for other organizations where they say that transparency is there, but it's really not. I mean, other than our mission and where our company is going, that certainly sets Rubicon apart. I think it does for a lot of startups as well. But if you focus on your people who you would be nothing without, then that will be very obvious in your culture and how you run your business. And it will be a lot easier for you to attract talent to come and work for you as opposed to somewhere else.
I know I'm the moderator and I'm not supposed to talk, but to speak to specifically about how Atlanta is more competitive, you know, to draw a lot of that type of the new talent. I don't think a lot of people are aware of how much Atlanta has grown in terms of its culture, in terms of its nightlife, in terms of its living, its diverse lifestyle. And I think it's just part of that will emerge eventually, but there are people who come from Boston, Toronto, Bay Area, Austin, and they're recognizing that. And if you can find someone in your organization who moved from there, or maybe a friend or somebody to convince them, hey, look, this is why we moved from, from Seattle. You know, that'll help a great deal to kind of. So, sorry, I had to jump in, talk about Atlanta, raising out Atlanta's, ecosystem. So we got one more question. Go ahead. In the back.
You guys talk a lot about culture. So in terms of culture, how are you ensuring that it's properly communicated and understood by everybody? Because you talk about, you have the values, whatever, and they forget them, right? So like if a small group, right, is creating like a whole value structure and you have a bigger organization, how are you making sure that culture is really, like alive versus just like that idea, right? Like I noticed that there's this idea of culture versus the reality of a culture. and the aliveness of it. So what is it that you guys do in order to make sure it's alive?
I think there's kind of two pieces there. So one is look around. Are you actually surrounded by people who are, living and working by those values? If you're not, you need to be accountable to hold those people to that standard. And so the second piece is, well, how do you keep that standard in front of them? And I would say anything from as simple as, reiterating it in an email update, or printing it out, holding it on the wall, or printing it and putting it on someone's desk or desktop backgrounds. Keep it in front of everybody, and then on an organizational level, hold everyone to it, whether it's top down or horizontal. There's been plenty of times in my previous careers where I've literally walked past a conversation where someone said something negative, and the person they were talking to said, "Well, that wasn't really the nicest thing." And I'm like, "You're straight. We don't want to do it."
I think that's right on, where you define what it is, and then you find every way possible to reinforce it and celebrate when it happens. So for example, as we promote someone from being an individual contributor to a leader, it ought to be obvious to everybody why that was done, right? So it's like, oh, they are reinforcing our culture by who they're selecting as a leader. That leader is going to then further strengthen it and reinforce it with how he or she leads. So I think it's every decision that you make, and probably, I was going to say in the beginning, but it probably is true kind of always, it's being explicit in making those connections, so you don't let people sort of make assumptions about it or try to draw connections. You're really explicit about it.
And just to add to that, like our mission, like we're a recycling and sustainability company, and we have a mission on obviously being very active in our community as well. So we look for people who are also passionate about their community. We have huge teams of volunteers that will attend, 3, 4, 5 different events in Atlanta. So we want to hire people who not only understand our mission and want to work for a company with a great initiative, but they also personally feel some sort of responsibility to take care of their own, of the city and the individuals around them. Because they're just that much more engaged with your company. If you have a wellness program, or if you have a volunteer program, and you have individuals that you can really, if you have a well-defined culture, you have a well-defined mission as a company, and you're looking for similar traits in individuals during the interview process, it's really easy to weed out people that just want to work there because it's another paycheck, or people that are truly passionate about supporting your mission as a company and really want to be interactive with your company's culture as well. I mean, we identify individuals on a monthly basis. We call them culture carriers. They are people who have stood out in our organization as this person has really gone above and beyond to stand out as someone who has a focus on people and has a focus on the environment, et cetera. And I think that it encourages, that open recognition of that encourages other individuals or new employees to really want to understand, well, how can I be more active in, being a part of what Rubicon truly is as a company.
So focusing on culture, transparency, people growth seems like the theme for today in terms of how that you manage talent development and growth. Thank you so much, Victoria, Carrie, Karen, Tiffany. I appreciate all of your wisdom that you've shared with all of us, especially on this chilly afternoon. And thank you very much for attending.